Welcome. Our next meeting next week will be accountability. So if you missed this meeting, the replay will be posted. And if you have any questions, as usual, please post in our Facebook group. That is going to be the best way to get answers and responses. Any questions, comments, concerns, wins, celebrations, the whole nine. Share on our Facebook group. There's no question that you can't share there. It's a small group, it's a closed group, so don't feel like there's anything that's too personal. And you'll also find, before you post, do a quick search. A lot of the times it's the same questions, so just do a quick search using the search box in the Facebook group, and you might find your answer. And then if you find that you don't find an answer, go ahead and post your question. But wins, celebrations, all of that is, we love to see it, so don't hesitate to share any of that stuff. So today's meeting, we're going to be continuing a little bit of what we spoke about last month in our March meeting. This is technically the April meeting, but the leap year has kind of messed things up for the process. But this is, every other week we do a campaign meeting. And you can find the list of events on your ANTS dashboards. If you have questions, check out the YouTube channel. I have like four years of social media, like how to build your business on social media, since COVID information. And then I have maybe another, I don't know, I can't even do math, but going back as far as like 2016, 2015, there's content on there as well. The business doesn't change that much over the years, so there's a wealth of information there. The products change, the names of titles change, but how to grow your business, how to find customers, the basics are all the same. So I want to encourage everyone to go and watch those videos. They're there for you to learn, to watch in your own time, to find ideas, because something that works back in the day, and maybe things are different now with the advent of social media. Maybe the website is a little bit different, but with a little tweaking, with a little creativity, you could come up with some really great stuff. So I want to encourage you to definitely go back and check those videos. A lot of basic sales management specific to Avon, business building stuff is there. Definitely go and check it out. And today we're going to dive into a little bit of it's basic sales, but as I mentioned last month, I feel like it's stuff that we've sort of let go of in terms of focus over the last few years within the Avon company. But while it's basic marketing and basic sales, basic business building, basic entrepreneurship, it's in some ways next level, because there are a lot of people who they're not at this place within their business, but I want to share it with you, because if you're a person who is in that order taker entrepreneur realm that we spoke about last month, then this is going to be stuff that you want to know if you want to grow your business to that level where you're making thousands of dollars per month, versus if you're just in here for your discount, then you really probably don't even need to watch any of the training videos. But these are the things that'll help you to move yourself to the next level, because a lot of that transition from here to there, from operations to management to leadership to entrepreneurship, it doesn't happen so much within the specific things that you're doing. We're all sharing the brochure, we're all posting to our social media accounts, we're all posting to our websites. That stuff for the most part is the same. We're all talking to new customers. What happens to make the difference is scale. So scaling right now, for some reason, is like a hot topic term that I've been hearing in a lot of events and trainings that I've been going to. But it's really just how you take those core basic things that everyone is doing and bring it up to the next level. And one of the terms that we talk about is 10xing. So the difference between a person who's producing, 100 times the value, the output of a person who is, at a lower level. Oftentimes it's not a difference in the things that they're doing. They might be doing the same things, but it's the level at which someone who's advanced might be doing them. And 10x is a process that has become, in some ways, a hot topic, one of those hot topic terms, a trending term of late. Somebody was talking about it in a book within the last 3 or 5 years. I don't even remember the name of the book, but somebody wrote a book about it, and it just became one of these buzzwords again. But it's, basic manufacturing. If I could produce one thing per hour, then me and 10 of my friends together can produce 10 things per hour, right? Basic math, right? So with Avon leadership, one of the things that I loved about leadership was when you start to build and grow your team, instead of you doing 100% of the work yourself, you get 100 of your friends, you all are doing like 1% of the work, but your output is the same 100%. But you're able to get so much more done, you're able to accomplish so much more. And that's one example of 10x mindset. Building a team, having other people come to work within the Avon company. And that was something that we were familiar with for many, many years when it came to leadership. It was always this idea of, you don't have to do this whole thing by yourself. Invite your friends and your family members and people help other people to be successful. And all of you could grow together by putting out 1% and 2% output. Now, the key to that is that everybody needs to carry their 1%. Sometimes it doesn't happen. So you might end up finding 200 people to do the work of the 100% people. And now everybody can put in 50% of the work. So, you play with the numbers, but the goal is to get more done just by getting more hands on deck, right? And then when it comes to 10x terminology, and I have this whiteboard so that I can write, but I'm talking with my hand. So this idea of 10x, when it comes to goals, and remember we said last month that goals are important. They're important to your business. They're important if you want to have an entrepreneurial mindset. They're the things that move the needle, because if you don't know where your destination is, you'll never be able to figure out where you're going. You're going to be running in circles and basically spinning your wheels. And one of the things that comes without goals, always, regardless of what industry you're in, no goals almost always leads to burnout. Having goals that are not SMART goals, SMART, also, I always warn before I do these things that I cannot write and spell together. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Not having SMART goals also leads to burnout. So sometimes people will set goals like, yeah, I want to make $1 billion in 5 days. And it's like, yeah, it's possible. Nothing is impossible, but you're really going to have to work hard to do it. And a lot of people are not at that level where they're putting in that level of work to get that. And then what happens is when they set a goal, they set their expectations high, it doesn't happen. Whatever, what comes after that is usually that, what we call quitting time. So you want to manage these points here so that you basically get a smooth run. Now, going back to 10x goals, mindset, and empowerment, 10x is essentially based on not just setting your expectations, but also making sure that you're moving at a fast pace. Which means experimentation, getting things out there, testing them, seeing what works and what doesn't. But it's a lot of trial and error, but you're trying things fast. You've heard that term, and it's become a famous term within the tech industry. Fail fast. You want to get something out and try it, and instead of being worried about failing or not, you just want to see if it works, because you know that you're going to learn from the failures. So here there's no fear of failure, because you know that failure equals a learning opportunity. If you try something and it doesn't work, instead of like, oh my gosh, it didn't work, this is, quitting time again, it's okay, that didn't work because maybe I didn't have the right people. Maybe I need to tweak my methodology. Maybe I started too soon. Maybe I started too late. You start to ask your questions and start to figure out how you can improve. And going back to what we spoke about last month with entrepreneurship, it's, that constant and never ending improvement. We call it CANI. Whoops. CANI. Make this, like, write it down, make a note of it, make this a part of your life, not just in business, but in your personal development. This is constant. I'll put it this way. And never ending improvement. CANI. CANI. It's having that motto, that mantra of, I'm just going to keep trying things until I get it right. And even just making those two minor shifts of changing that fear of failure into a learning experience, and having, testing things, having that idea of constant and never ending improvement. Those small shifts, let's see if it'll make a box, wonderful, will help you in these areas to avoid those burnout dips, and avoid this entire slope right here. Because here is where you start to say, it's not working. You start to focus on what's not working, on things that aren't within your control. Things that could be learning experiences that you put into a category of failure, basically. But there's a lot that happens in this area here that you can avoid in order to keep that longevity, because the goal here is to go for a long time. You want something that is sustainable, profitable in the long term. Sometimes, FITABLE, because as we said last week, the entrepreneurs are in it for the long haul, in it for the long run. We're not here for, get rich quick overnight schemes. We're here to build a business, something that lasts, something that can grow with us, something that we could take with us, sometimes even things that we could leave as a legacy for, our children. We're looking for that long-term investment, right? So I said experimentation and innovation. I'm going to put those two together. I want to emphasize innovation a lot, because especially in this season, it can be easy to sit back and wait for someone else to do all the stuff for you. Sit back and wait for what's it my mom always says, for Prince Charming to come. You can sit back and have this idea that someone else, it's someone else's responsibility to fix your life. But people who are innovators and problem solvers and solution makers, they're the ones who are going out and getting that themselves. And again, those are the people who are going to be ahead of the curve. Those are the people who are setting the standards. They're setting the bar for everyone else, and that's where you want to be. So going back to 10x, which is my theme for the night, but it's connected to so much other stuff. I could probably teach a mini lesson in each one of these things, but some of the key things to keep in mind when it comes to 10x in your business, and really seeing high output, which will equal to high income, and again, that longevity and success in the long run. You want to set big goals to give yourself massive results, because the key to the 10x concept is that it's this 2x mindset versus 10x mindset. Most people are in this area of 2x mindset. I'm going to talk to one more person a day. I'm going to talk to one person a day, so that, a total of 5 people a day. I'm going to read a paragraph extra per week on building my business. I'm going to attend 1 meeting a year. We set relatively small goals because we're afraid of that if we commit too much, then, and it doesn't work out, then we'll fail. So it's that fear of failure sort of getting in front of us and stopping us before we even start. It's a little bit of, um, it could be, in some cases, it could be poor time management. The focus is not on the things that will help you grow your business, but on the things that you think will give you a big shift, but don't give you a big enough shift if you're not consistent with them. And that lack of consistency is another part of that 2x mindset. I'm going to try it today. Oh, wait, the neighbor's cousin's uncle's goldfish died. I've got to take a break. Other things are getting in the way and you get distracted. So a lot of people are in this area of 2x mindset. We think small, we play small, we take small risks. We don't commit because especially if you're in a place where you've tried and failed before, or you tried something and you were embarrassed, think about it. If you had a bad experience in the past, it's going to cause you to want to limit yourself so that you don't repeat that experience in the future. And again, I could talk about this in terms of business as well as personal life, but these are things that we have to deal with internally and mentally that affect our business success. And if we're not conscious of them, if we don't think of them, if we're only focused, if we're focused on the wrong things, these are the things that have a huge impact on our business, but that we're missing because it's not, some idea of the secret sauce. We all think that there's this one thing that every other representative, leader, mentor, business person is doing, that they're keeping to themselves, that they're not sharing. And really, it's the hard stuff. It's the personal development, it's the growth work, it's the introspective looking so that they can find those areas of their life that they can innovate and expand on and get better at, right? So 2x mindset is sort of the trap. It's the easy stuff. It's the lacking consistency stuff. It's the stuff that you kind of almost find yourself doing if you don't even try. The 10x stuff is the hard stuff, but because it's 10x, it gives you so much more return on your investment, right? So the 10x things are things that give you massive results. Massive input equals massive results. And it comes from having massive goals, ambitious goals, and targets. Because going back to this idea of SMART goals, goals are not pie in the sky stuff. Goals come with numbers and things that are, going back to the M in SMART goals. Okay, that's just, I'm making a mess out of that. Going back to the M, measurable. How do you measure whether or not you've achieved your goals? There's usually some sort of number attached to that. And relevant, what makes that goal relevant? I want to be a millionaire. I want to drive a Ferrari. Okay, great. Why? What year Ferrari? What make and model? How much does it cost? How much do you need to make to get to that Ferrari? A lot of times when I do training, and those of you who have done the new representative training, I ask, what brought you here? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to get out of this business? Because that's the first metric to decide whether or not you're feeling successful or not. If your goal is to make an extra $1,000 and your effort is in line with making an extra $10, you're going to feel like you're not getting to your goal, right? Of course. If your goal is to make friends and you're making $1,000, but you haven't made any friends or connections, you're not going to feel like you're reaching your goal. And over the years, I've been doing this now for over 20, I think this is my almost 24th or 25th year. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've seen representatives come into this business, really successful people, and still feel, who are like, yeah, no, this isn't working for me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're making $1,000 every 2 weeks. Like, this is amazing. And they're like, yeah, no, it's not working out. I don't like it. I'm not making any connections with anyone. I'm not meeting new people. And then I have to step back and say, oh, okay. Your goal is not to make money. Your goal is to make friends and connections and meet new people. So we have to get your actions to align with what that goal is. But we have to be clear on that in the beginning, because you'll come to the meetings and you'll sit and you'll hear me talk about money, money, money. But if money doesn't resonate with you, if it's not what you want, then it's meaningless. For some of you, it's not the money; it's the time and freedom, being able to set your own hours, your own income, to be able to spend time with your family, that freedom and flexibility. That was the level that I was in. For me, you can offer me $1 million, but if you're going to chain me to a desk, I didn't want it. So you can talk about um, things in terms of just making income, but I also needed to know, okay, well, yeah, I want to make that income, but do I get to be my own boss? Do I get to set my own hours? I've been offered jobs and positions where I was like, yeah, it sounds great, but I want to be able to be there for my family. I want to be close to my parents in case they need me. There were things that I I also wanted to have. I wanted to have, life balance. I didn't want to sacrifice my health. And I've been in places where I found myself doing those things and had to take a step back. So you got to know what your targets are and be clear on them. Take the time. It may sound woo or like a waste, but if you're really not clear on why you're doing the things, why is that Ferrari important to you? Because you've been driving a beater car all your life. You finally want to get to the point where you have the nice car. Okay, does it have to be a Ferrari? Can it be a Mitsubishi? Like what made the Ferrari stand out to you versus any other expensive car? It could be a BMW. What's the difference between the two? Narrow it down. Ask yourself those tough questions. And get your targets in line. And then get the actions that will keep you motivated so you can go in the long run. Motivated. You can see my brain just trails off. And then make sure that they're not just ambitious goals, but that you have those actions to kind of put your money where your mouth is. You want to back up what you're talking about, right? And that's where your 10x goals come in. So 10x goals are, all right, and this is where a lot of people sort of fall off, because it's like, okay, a 2x goal, I'm going to talk to an extra one person a day. Sounds doable, right? 100%. A person who is in a 10x goal mindset is like, okay, well, how much additional effort does it take for me to talk to 50 people instead of 2? Okay, well, if I go out in person at 8 o'clock in the morning, there aren't a lot of people out, maybe I'll meet one. But if I go out at noon and people are on lunch, maybe I could ramp that up to 25. What if I add on top of that, while I'm talking to people, I live stream it and do a social media post? How many of my followers can I get to watch me at the same time? So you start to think about, because your goal is so much bigger, you start to kind of want to close the gap and think about what else you can do to help you get closer to your goal. And that's where you start to find yourself building this innovation muscle. Because with all of these things, the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more efficient you get at it. And that's when you start to see those 10x results. But it's almost like a trick of your mind. If you tell yourself you want to work at the 2x level, you want to do something little by little each day, you will do little by little each day. But if you set your goal bigger, like 10 times bigger, then your mind starts to, even in your sleep, like studies and scientists and studies have shown that even in your sleep, your brain will come up with ways, like even on a subconscious level, because you've set your goal so much higher, you'll start to find new, innovative, fresh, different ways to accomplish the same problems, but in a way that's so much better and so much more efficient. And I think that this is sort of one of the gaps that we miss as business owners and entrepreneurs. We sort of want to play it safe, and we put ourselves in a box where we're playing small. We're afraid to take risks. We're afraid to be embarrassed. We're afraid to do anything different. And we let that fear keep us back. But I'll end with a quote that somebody shared with me that I have kept and cherished. And whenever I feel myself, because I know you, those of you, everybody here for the most part has known me post 2016, and I was a very different person back then. I wasn't outgoing, I wasn't comfortable on social media, I wasn't comfortable speaking. This was a muscle that I built. I said, okay, I'm not comfortable speaking and doing video. That means every Tuesday night I have to get on live stream after a long day of work, getting up at 6 a.m., coming home, cooking, having dinner. 7:30, I used to get on a live stream every Tuesday. I've had live streams where I've dropped the camera, where things have broken. If you go back on my channel, you can see all of those videos. They're just there for everyone to see. Stuttering over my words, all of the filler spaces. There are still things that I'm working on when it comes to doing video, but I build my muscle by doing it every day. I do it imperfect, and I do it through the fear. I am not comfortable with public speaking. I used to get so nervous. And then I said, well, if it's something that you're afraid of, if it's something that you're uncomfortable doing, then it's something that you have to do, because everything you want is on the other side of your fear. So we have to smash those fears that are holding us back. And setting 10x goals is one way to do that, because you cannot accomplish 10x goals with a 2x mindset. And if you talk to people, you can almost even start to hear it in the things that they say. The difference in who is, reaching for the moon and who is complacent. Who'd rather wait for their knight in shining armor than to do the things themselves, who would rather blame everyone else and everything else than, get there themselves. And you want to be a person, if you are going to be successful in not just this, but in anything, because my job as your mentor in business is to help you to be efficient and effective in everything you do. Even when you move on from here, because I hope that you do reach your goals and move to the next level. I don't want anybody here to stay, somebody said the other day, like with babies, you don't want to have a grown man drinking breast milk for his whole life. There's got to be a point where he starts eating steak and potatoes. I want everybody on this team to get to the point where they're eating steak and potatoes. And if you're vegan, then tofu and potatoes, whatever it is. But the goal is for you to grow, not just in business, but as a human, because the more you grow as a human, the more you will grow in business. So the two are tied together. They don't work individually of each other. If you want to see success, you've got to do that personal work and that personal growth. And this is setting 10x goals is just one more trick, one more tip that you can use to launch yourself out of your comfort zone and move toward the next level. Now, I will tell you, I just said out of your comfort zone. If you're feeling nervous, then yes, rightfully so. You should be, because it gets uncomfortable outside of your comfort zone. But guess what? As you build that muscle, your comfort zone begins to expand, and you'll find that the things that you thought you couldn't do. When I first started this business, it was simply talking to people, sharing a brochure, asking them if they would like to see a brochure, introducing myself as the Avon representative, just introducing myself and saying my name. Like even, hi, I'm Georgiana, was very, very hard when I first started. Asking people if I could do events with their business or at their company, partnering with other organizations, all of those things I would hear people talk about in the meetings. Like I said, when we first started this, there's a list of things that we all do, that we all know that we should be doing. We know what they are. And I would hear that list and I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't talk to people. I can't have events. I can't. Prospecting, setting up a table in the street and talking to people, fairs and flea markets where there were hordes of people who were going to come and talk to me and ask me questions. I was mortified even at the thought of it. But baby steps, I did it. I set my goals and I moved forward. President's Club was a huge goal. $10,000 in sales in a year was impossible to me. And I always tell this story. When I signed up with this company and people, the person who did the presentation for me got to that point and they were like, oh yeah, so we have this program. When you sell 10,000, I was like, that'll never happen. Just skip over that part. They were like, no, but at least let me tell you. I was like, no, I'll never sell that. So I didn't even hear that part of the presentation when I first signed up. It was 4 or 5 years later, somebody said, you're a consistent seller. Have you considered President's Club? And I was like, no, it's too much. And they sat me down, they did the math, and they said, you're selling this. If you double what you sell each campaign, you can get there. And even that idea of doubling what I sell, it caused me to create a radical shift in my thinking, because I had to, double my efforts to get to that next level. So leverage this. Start looking for ways that you can analyze. First of all, set your goals, set your SMART goals, start getting clear about them, start thinking about them. Then look at what you're doing and start saying, okay, first of all, I'm going to set whatever my goal is. If I'm not terrified and mortified when I think about it, I'm going to one up it. If President's Club scares me, then I'm not going to go for President's Club. I'm going to go for Honor Society. I'm going to go for Rose Circle. I'm going to go for Mechanical Club. Bump that. I'm going to reach for Inner Circle. I want that 50% earnings, that 50% commission. I want to give myself a raise, an extra 20 to 30% raise. Like, can you even imagine what that looks like? And then when you do that, start asking yourself, how can I do that? How many people do I need to talk to? First of all, how much do I need to sell to get there? Honor Society is 20,000. Rose Circle, I think, is 35. Get clear on the numbers. Get back to your M, your measurable, and your relevant. Figure out what the exact numbers are. Break it down. Okay, well, how much does that mean I need to sell per month? How much does that mean that I need to sell per week? How much does that mean that I need to sell per day? If I need to sell that amount per day, then how many people do I need to talk to? Okay, what does my day look like now? How can I get from talking to 0 people a day to 1 person a day? What can I do to turn that 1 person a day into 10 people a day? Where can I go to find more people? Are there events in my area where people are gathering that I can get into? Can I leverage social media to increase the number of people who are seeing my content? How can I put those two things together to see more? Your brain is going to start to find more ways, but it only comes if you sort of quelch that inner voice and it will tell you, it is going to be there, I warn you from now, that little voice that's going to be saying, you can't do that. That's too big for you. You'll never hit it. You don't deserve that. You've never been there before. Your family never did that. What makes you think you can do that? You're the first one in your household who's going to do that. Your parents before you never did that. There are going to be all these little voices that try to tell you to keep you back. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too skinny. I'm too tall. I'm too whatever the thing is. Those voices, I guarantee you, will be there. You got to get them in check. Put them in the back seat. They're not allowed to drive this car. Throw them in the trunk. And you sit there with your 10x goals in your passenger ride or die seat and you drive. So that is our lesson and my tip for today. Set those 10x goals and make sure that you're sharing in the Facebook group, in the chat box, because I know once you start setting them and actively taking those steps, you're going to start to see the results, and you're going to start to see that shift, not just in how you do business, but the results that you're going to start to see from your business. All right, everyone, I'll see you all next month. Well, we'll see each other next week for our accountability meetups, but we'll have a training. Our next team training will be next month. All right, everyone. Bye.